This is AIM Agenda. Thanks for being with us this morning. With me on the program, I have Labor MP Ed Husic and Liberal MP Josh Frydenberg. Josh, the coalition's been really disciplined this year, but yesterday Tony Abbott faced a fairly feisty coalition party room. He rebuked Kelly O'Dwyer, one of our regular guests on this program, told her to go and call her old boss, Peter Costello, when she asked a question about the process of consultation on one of the policies. Why the tension on that?
Look, there's no tension in our party room, and I'm not going to go into the details of what was said and what wasn't said, by the way, within the party room. Look, Tony Abbott, when he came to the leadership in December 2009, the Labor Party was ahead in the two-party preferred 57-43 under News Poll, and Labor's primary vote was 43. Today, Labor's primary vote is 30, and we're ahead 57-43. So in under 2 years, Tony Abbott has reversed our position.
So should your colleagues pull their heads in when
they not at all.
Ask questions about the way he manages things?
No. My colleagues are all putting their shoulders to the wheel to ensure that we take down this very bad Labor-Gillard government. And Tony Abbott has everyone's support, and his success in holding this government to account can be clearly demonstrated by our current polling position. He
was seen by some of your colleagues to have not handled it that well yesterday, the challenge in the, not the challenge, but the questions about the policy change on the superannuation increase. What did you think about the way he handled it?
Well, look, he announced what our position is, and that was subject to a discussion among the leadership group.
But what about the questions in the party room? Did he handle that okay?
I'm not going to get into the party room. That's an internal process. Both Labor and Liberal
okay, well, let me ask you about the Nationals
processes.
Then. The Nationals, because some of your colleagues are worried about the Nationals having too much clout at the moment, and that they're announcing policies unilaterally.
Well, neither the Nationals or the Liberal Party will win government without each other. We're absolutely working closely and effectively together to get back into government. And we were very successful during the Howard years, and we'll be very successful during the Abbott years. And I think that they bring a great skill set to the table, the Nationals, and we also have a lot of members in the Liberal Party who represent rural and regional seats.
And why are they annoyed then? Those members about the Nationals?
No. I mean, the point is, if there are discussions in the party room, then they should stay in the party room. But the point is, both sides are working very closely together. Warren Truss and Tony Abbott, as the head of our respective parties, work closely together, just like John Anderson and John Howard did, or Mark Bale and John Howard did, or Tim Fischer and John Howard did. So I think this is a bit of a beat-up. I think Tony Abbott is doing extremely well. If anything, Kieran, I'd ask you to ask my friend over here, Ed Husic, what's happening in the Labor Party, because Kevin Rudd's made no secret of the fact that he wants to reassert himself as a potential leader of the Labor Party. He's refusing to back Julia Gillard on her pokey reforms. He wasn't consulted on the sale of uranium to India, and he tried to steal the show. And he tried to steal the show in Perth at Choggum.
No,
so I think Kevin's more of a story here than some shadow in the Liberal Party.
Okay, let me ask you. Let me ask you. It is obviously rare respite for Labor to be talking about internal coalition issues as opposed to your own. They're only on ice for the time being, aren't they?
That's right. No, look, I mean, we want to go back to 2009. Tony Abbott made a big deal about getting elected to the leadership on the basis that he would be more consultative, as a contrast to Malcolm Turnbull and the perceived view that Malcolm had pushed through the negotiations on ETS without having coalition party room support on it. He said he'd consult, and he's made a number of decisions in recent times where he has basically unilaterally made those calls without, referring to his backbench. And it comes back to the point I have said that, well, how do I know? Because your backbench is saying it all over the place. And the other thing is, too, that, this is part of an issue that we have been saying for ages is starting to emerge, where there's this division between people who want to develop policy and be able to argue coalition policy and those who just want to be able to play the politics all the time. And the negativity is coming through insofar as you can't keep saying no and not have a policy prescription. Now, Christmas is coming up. Maybe he'll get some policy ideas over the break.
Have you heard of direct action?
Hopefully not the policy. you don't want to hear about direct action. You should leave that in the background.
Let's
but just
ask
hang on a
Josh
second.
about that.
But are you hoping that he'll get some policy ideas that don't involve the proviso, only believe what's in writing?
But he gave that landmark speech, as he describes it, to the Sydney Institute this week, and flagging the areas of the priorities for
economic reform and
a future Abbott government.
Cuts, yeah.
That's right. Are you relieved that he's now moving in that direction, showing some positive agenda as opposed to the negativity which has been levelled at him, those claims and concerns within your own ranks about that?
Look, I made a speech in the Parliament this week. This is not negativity. We went to the election, Kieran, saying we opposed a carbon tax and we proposed direct action. So why wouldn't we, in opposition, continue with that position? We went to the election saying we opposed a mining tax. So why wouldn't we continue with that position in opposition? We said we oppose a $50 billion NBN without proper scrutiny and accountability. Why wouldn't we continue with that position in opposition? It's only you guys who change your positions from before the election to when you're in government. And that's not what the Australian people like.
What happened with that whole idea that you would support the super reforms on the way through, and last night you voted against it? And that's only been in the space of a week, so give me a break.
What about the mood in the Labor Party? Yesterday the Prime Minister seemed to sort of claim victory, that the year of decision and delivery had, basically it was job done. Is there a more optimistic mood within Labor ranks after the passage of a couple of those major bills like the mining tax?
People are rightly proud that on the big issues, for example, putting a price on pollution, being able to get our NBN reforms through, our health reforms through, looking at all the things that we've been able to do, these guys are still working out what policies they'll actually be able to put forward, as opposed to a policy based entirely on opposition and no. And we've been basically, as we've said at the start of the year, we'll work our way through. 250 bills gone through the Parliament, big reforms through. Is there
a more optimistic mood among your colleagues now?
And people are rightly proud about what we've achieved through the course of this year in very difficult circumstances.
I think Ed's going to be very busy over the break, Kieran. He's one of the so-called numbers men in the Labor Party, so I think he'll be actually trying to take the temperature as to what's going to happen. And when we talk about decision and delivery, Julia Gillard said that one of her key policy objectives was to stop the boats, and nothing's happened on that.
I'm told to wrap here.
Yeah, I'm going to shout him a Red Bull, so yeah, we should probably
go and get a coffee at a Red Bull. Thank you for that, fellas.
Thanks, Kieran.
Appreciate it.
Thanks,
and that's all for AIM Agenda. We'll see you next time.